Hey everyone, your host Nick here, and you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. First, I want to remind you that we are a fully independent podcast, quite literally just a group of friends who have met once a week since 2008 to talk about video games. If you like our show, the best thing you can do for us is be active in our community. I recommend Discord. You can subscribe to our show, leave us a review on your preferred podcast service, or, if you're so inclined, bless us with your patronage on Patreon or Twitch. If you're new, all you need to know is this. We record these shows live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central on Twitch, and the audio version launches on all podcast services on Friday morning. Patreon and Twitch supporters will even get the show a day early on Thursdays. But if you want to know more about any of this, about what we do, or find all the important links you need, simply visit us at 4playernetwork.com. And that's it. This is the only ad you'll ever hear on this show. So, with that said, thank you for listening. Let's get started. Welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 810. It is September 24th, 2024. I'm your host, Nick Henderson, and I'm joined this evening by the illustrious Brad Simons.
Illustrious? What does illustrious mean?
I don't know, like grandiose, royal. I don't know. I mean, that actually might not be accurate. I'm just pulling those words out of my ass. Nolan Hedstrom is joining us as well. I'm sorry, I don't have a descriptor for you.
Yeah, that's okay. I just died a little inside, but how's it going, everybody?
And, of course, Chris Davis is joining us as well.
Good evening.
Good evening. It's been a day for video games. We're going to talk about them. We did not record a podcast last week. If you're one of our subscribers listening at home, you may have noticed we didn't have a podcast last week. That's because we got together on Tuesday night, or no, I guess it was Wednesday night. Got together on Wednesday night to play a little Dale and Dawson's, help me out here.
Paper company,
Stationery
something
supplies.
like that?
Stationery. I forgot the word. Stationery supplies. What'd y'all think about that? That was pretty fun.
Yeah,
It was definitely fun.
Good times. Good times.
Mafia, but in an office setting.
Mafia.
Okay.
Among Us
Chris
in an
Davis,
office setting.
that's
What are you
an
smoking?
unhinged thing for you to say. What are you talking about? Among Us? Can you say Among Us?
Yeah, Among Us, which derived most of its gameplay formula.
Yeah, okay, but
Mafia.
like the developers who developed
Werewolf.
this game is like, you know what? Let's turn Mafia into a video game. Okay, stop.
But hold on.
that
Let's
did
take
happen.
out
There were
all of
3
the
of them so
characters
far.
from Mafia. There was no real aspect of Mafia in Dale and Dawson. There's only like one role you can be besides good guy. It's a bunch of good guys and then a couple bad guys, and I guess the manager who has to make the decision. But Mafia is way more complex than that.
Yeah.
It was an Among Us clone with better graphics.
Better
Yeah,
graphics
pretty much.
and some of that beautiful what do you call it? Spatial awareness, like spatial audio stuff, which I'm sure
proximity chat.
Localized.
Yeah, proximity
Yeah, I mean,
chat.
Among Us is all
which-
about that stuff too. But
I know,
yeah.
but like, there's just something so funny about like the premise of Dale and Dawson being like everybody, because you're employees, it's a manager, employees, and slackers, and the employees are literally rushing around the map trying to do actual work. So like all the tasks that they've come up with are like these hilarious, like I need to print out this random report and have the manager sign it. So people are just, but it's like when there's, how many people did we had a bunch of people from the
I
community.
think at one
playing
point we
with
had
us.
like almost like 12 people total
Yeah.
in the office. Yeah.
So it's like 12 people running around the office just yelling at each other. I need you to sign this. Please sign this. And it's all spatial, like proximity chat. So like I'm like in one room and I can hear just people across, like through the walls going, sign this, please sign this. It's fantastic. Fucking loved it.
I will say that it was definitely a slow start for us just because we were really trying to dial in it seemed like slackers had way too much of an advantage early on in the first few games we played.
Yeah.
It was like basically, and maybe that is how the game is supposed to be. You're not supposed to win as the
The
what's
slacker.
the good guy called? No, specialist.
Oh.
You're not supposed to win as the specialist as much as you're supposed to vote out the slacker. So I don't know. I think we won. I don't know. I don't know what the intentions were. I felt like the early games we were all kind of still trying to get our feet.
Skylar says
planted firmly.
Skylar in chat says one match there was no slackers and we were all just doing work for 20 minutes. For no reason.
Very nice. Very nice.
And one of my favorite ones was when we started a match, and I think Brad either didn't make it into the match, or he got booted he got kicked out of the game or something, disconnected fairly quickly.
Literally started without me.
And we weren't in the Discord meeting anymore because we didn't want to cheat, so we couldn't hear Brad yelling at us that he couldn't make it into the game. And then after 5 minutes, somebody was like, "Wait a second, where the fuck is Brad?" And everybody in the office just stops, is looking around.
No one recognized. I chatted in our Twitch chat.
It was funny though,
and I saw your chat, Brad, and I acknowledged it.
And then
I had us restart the game for you.
Nolan went to bat for you and had us restart the whole match.
It was a long time. I was about to turn off my computer and go to bed.
Yeah, well, luckily that didn't happen. We got it all sorted out. But yeah, good time. It was a good time. So, maybe expect to see another Dale and Dawson's game night in the not too distant future. There's some stuff in the state of play today
I didn't refund it immediately like I did with the last game night game, which I don't even remember.
Well, I will say that this was also an $8 game. It's not like it was.
I'm gonna leave mine installed. So just in
that
case,
last one was cheap too, but I still refunded it. What was the game? I can't remember the game.
So we're gonna play a little catch up. There was a state of play today, and actually one of the games that was mentioned, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but it looked like it might make for a good community game night in the not too distant future. Whenever that game drops, I don't know if we got a release date for that.
Maybe, unless it's expensive.
It's expensive.
Maybe PlayStation Plus or something.
It looked kind of expensive, the game I'm talking about, which the name escapes me, but we'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways,
Brad, was the game content warning?
Yes.
You refunded content warning? What a bitch.
Hey, oh yeah, content warning. Yeah, I refunded. Hey, by the way, topic change. I 100% Astrobot and there's no fucking Twisted Metal representation. What the fuck?
Weird. I didn't even realize
what the fuck? There is everything in that game, and there is no Twisted Metal. Which means
pretty silly.
They had to choose not to put in Twisted Metal for some reason, and it's not it's mature rated or anything, because they have Killzone characters and shit in there. It's fucked up. Which means
can't believe
there
they
better
didn't get
be
Anthony Mackie in there.
There better be some shit in DLC or something, because otherwise, what the fuck is going on?
Oh, okay. So speaking of which, I also platinumed.
It was so
Astrobot.
egregious that I thought that maybe they would do they're saving it to do a world all about Twisted Metal, some of the other IP.
This could be wrong, and I don't really know for sure, but I did see the other day because I platinumed it as well. But apparently there are.
I didn't platinum it. I don't platinum games.
I platinumed Astrobot, but apparently there are additional bots you can find, which is probably what they were teasing in Astro's Playroom. There are additional bots you can find either in Astrobot after you find those secret characters in Astro's Playroom, or if you find them in Astro's Playroom, they count towards your count in Astrobot. So you can actually go past. You can find more bots than because it says there's 300 bots or whatever. Mm-hmm. You can actually find 305 or something. 300 is it 301? I don't know. Yeah, so maybe one of those is Twisted Metal. And maybe
no. I don't know. No.
There are 4 bots you can get in Astro's Playroom. I don't know what they are, but I'm
they're not. No.
Okay, Prince says not one of them is Twisted Metal. I was just putting it out there as a possibility.
It was crazy that after
Twisted Metal got fucked.
Yeah, no. 1,000%. Honestly, there are so many random obscure characters. It was crazy.
The deepest of cuts.
Characters who extremely deep cuts. They had the motherfucker from Alundra. I'm not gonna try to spoil anything, but I'm just talking what we're working.
They got characters from Rogue Galaxy.
Yeah, exactly. It was crazy. And, they got cool animations and stuff, and to not even get a Sweet Tooth seems actually crazy. I'm hoping there's a DLC thing coming.
There's got to be DLC planned for this thing.
There is free DLC coming, but the only one I'm aware of so far is it's more
weird
kind of those speed levels or whatever.
There were some third-party omissions, obviously, that were pretty egregious. There's no Square Enix stuff, right? Which is a pretty big deal for the PlayStation. So to not have that is crazy, but. That this is not a third-party IP. This was a major PlayStation brand for a while. So I don't know. Piss me off. Anyways. I watched Donnie Darko, by the way. Not by my choice. I've seen that movie exactly twice now. Once when it, once like a year after it came out and was already overrated. And once this past weekend because my wife put it on because we've been arguing about whether that's a Halloween movie or not. And
sorry, I missed it.
It's super fucking not a Halloween movie at all, even remotely. Go fuck yourself.
Wait, what movie is this?
If you think it is.
Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko is not a Halloween movie.
Oh, yeah. I saw you
dare
tweet
you?
about that. That's right.
Nothing about it is giving Halloween. I hate it. I mean, the movie's fine. I mean, honestly, I think it's a little like...
overrated?
I mean, I don't think it's overrated. So, well, I mean, it was overrated back then, but like... I mean, I wouldn't even call it that. It's more like looking back on it, you're like, oh... Jake Gyllenhaal was probably like so cool to like young cool people or people who thought they were cool back then. But like the movie is like, oh, he's cool and like so smart. And literally everybody else in this movie is like kind of dumb. And man, if only they were as cool and smart as Jake Gyllenhaal. It's just a little like obnoxious. I don't know. There's a weird like, is he kind of edgy, but like intellectually edgy and not actually saying all that much. But anyways, and it's just Life is Strange, right? We've all played Life is Strange, literally just a ripoff of Donnie Darko. Okay, so Chris Davis has maybe not seen Donnie Darko?
Correct.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Life is Strange is
That
a
is
literal
surprising.
Donnie Darko ripoff. Like the whole like plot and the way it wraps up is just Donnie Darko.
Like I'd heard Donnie Darko being associated with it. I did not realize that. Okay.
Although Donnie Darko is maybe I would say a much darker take.
Yeah.
I mean, Life
It's
is
not
Strange is
Halloween.
obviously a much more vibrant, like, kind of... I mean, it's...
Life is Strange
Whatever,
is
you know
very
what
dark
I'm
and
saying.
violent, though.
Well, yeah,
Saying
but like...
that it was set during Halloween means it counts is one wrong. It wasn't set during Halloween. There was like one event that happened on Halloween, really. And two, I'd argue that like the movie almost wants you to forget that like early on in the movie there was like a couple of signs and stuff that say Halloween party's coming because really it's almost like they want you to not think that rabbit is actually just a Halloween costume. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be like kind of not know what the fuck am I even looking at, and if you knew it was like a Halloween movie, you'd probably be thinking it was just a Halloween costume. It's really not even in the background. The crazy take was that my wife always argues that Home Alone's not a Christmas movie, and she says that this is as much a Halloween movie as Home Alone is a Christmas movie, and to her I say, get the fuck out of my face. That's the worst take I've ever heard in my life. Home Alone is 1,000% a Christmas movie. It has non-diegetic Christmas music on the soundtrack. It just plays during montages and transitions, like actual just Christmas music, fucking Santa Claus and shit and presents, and like it's 1,000% a Christmas movie, and not like the whole like, oh, Die Hard's a Christmas movie. No, like maybe Die Hard and like Donnie Darko are closer, but like Home Alone straight up holiday classic.
I don't
How
disagree
dare
with you here. No offense to Malia, but that's a
bad take.
That's a
Bad
take.
take. Anyways, that's all. Donnie Darko. It's okay.
You know what?
I mean, Mad World, right? We like Mad
You know what
World,
movie
I guess.
Robin and I rewatched the other day? I don't know if this is necessarily a Halloween movie, but it qualifies as under like spooky movies. We rewatched Barbarian because we hadn't seen that since it was in theaters. Y'all seen Barbarian?
Yeah, but that was
That's so
yeah,
good.
I've seen it, but like
No.
you rewatched a movie that came out last year or whatever.
No, it came out that came out like 3 years ago.
No fucking way. It
I
did.
will I will look it up. It's
I
definitely.
bet you
at
it was
least
closer
2.
to 2023 than 3 years ago.
All right, I'm looking it up.
Early 2023 is my guess. I would say April. No, March.
2022, bitch.
Yeah.
Although I don't have the exact date in front of me.
Wait,
All I see is
in
the-
our like in theaters, you know,
in theaters,
like,
2022 in theaters,
July
September
22nd,
2022.
2020. Oh, that was the United States. Okay, yeah, you're right.
okay, so literally less than 2 years ago.
Whatever.
You said 3.
Shut up, bitch.
Brad, that's not how math works. That's more than 2 years ago. Literally more than 2 years ago.
What did
Tis
they say?
true.
It's September 9th. So
Oh, I didn't hear the day.
2 weeks ago it
Okay, I
was-
didn't hear the
yeah.
day.
yeah.
What a bitch. Okay. Whatever. Let's talk about video games, shall we? That's what we are here to do. And before we get to your game, Brad, I do want to talk about the state of play.
Let's talk about a game people care about.
State of play. I just want to get through the highlights, man. The state of play happened today, right? Right.
Yeah,
It was
like a good show.
It was minor. Like you thought it was like big enough to like lead off, huh?
I always try and get news out of the way first, so we can just talk about impressions. That's where I'm coming from.
Oh,
so we're not like rushing, so we're not like running out of time with impressions and being like, oh no, we got to still talk about news. I just want to get it out there. Some big stuff happened in the state of play. I don't really know. I didn't get to watch it live, so I don't even really know what the temperature was of this. Like, how do people feel about the state of play showing?
Probably would have thought it was dire without the Ghost of
Yotei.
Yotei.
Yeah.
Yotei.
It would have been dire. You think it would have been dire without it? I mean, there's some cool stuff.
I mean, not dire, right?
stuff.
The games look cool, but I mean, not a lot of like surprises or anything. Games mostly known quantities.
Monster Hunter Wilds got a release date of February. What was it? February.
True.
28th?
I mean, that was big news for me. Like, I am so Monster Hunter pilled that like at the end of that trailer, which admittedly was a really good trailer, I was like, oh well, they must have ended the show with that. Because that was because I love Monster Hunter, so I don't know why I would think that. I was like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. We know what Monster Hunter is. They wouldn't end with this, but like in my heart, I was like, a perfect way to end it is with Monster Hunter and a release date. But no, it wasn't the end.
All right, so let's.
It looks so good. It looks so good. By the way, like number 1 or 2 pick next year, y'all aren't crazy, right? Like that game is going to score.
Yes, that'll go very quickly.
Maybe mid-90s, maybe not mid-90s, but you know it's going to be 90 plus for sure. This is its Astrobot moment. I feel like.
All right. Did we just lose the feed? Just get cut or something?
Yeah, OBS.
I don't know.
Yeah, it
Yes.
stopped and then
Weird.
it hates me right now.
we're-
I'm gonna restart
this is
the
a
feed
lot-
real quick.
This is a podcast, so I'm not stopping. Okay. We also have Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered. What the fuck? I mean, I knew this. We all knew this was coming, but like, it's
We
still
already
kind
knew
of
about
like,
it, yeah.
still kind of like
Yeah.
flabbergasted that they're actually bothering with it.
There
But
are,
whatever.
there's rumors
It's a
of a
little
Days
weird.
Gone remaster coming.
I know that's,
Yep.
and I love Days Gone, but I'm equally flabbergasted by that, and I don't. I just don't
Crazy.
like. Horizon at least makes a little bit of sense because it's a franchise they clearly care about because they continue to make sequels to it and it's still a very active franchise. They're making a fucking Lego game out of it. Days Gone is dead in the water, even though I wish to God it wasn't. So it's kind of if they
because remember, like Days Gone is a game that like sold, you know,
yeah, but like I'm saying
better
like they
than
had
a lot of other failures.
when I say dead, I say dead in the water because
non-failures.
the team had already pitched a direct sequel to Sony, and Sony turned them down and said, "You're not making this. You're making something else." So, like, that's what I mean. I'm not saying Days Gone can't make a return, can't come back somehow, but like as of right now, that franchise might as well be dead.
Yeah.
So if that remaster turns out to be true, I don't know. It seems like a slap in the face. Which
What if I
it is
told you
Sony.
that
It is Sony.
Days
so-
Gone lifetime sales are higher than Metal Gear Solid 1's?
I mean, I don't doubt it. I'm not disputing the success of Days Gone. I'm telling you
that is actually a crime.
I'm telling you that Days Gone was already pitched as a sequel to Sony, and they were denied. They were turned down. They had the whole thing figured out, and they shot them down. So whatever. Astrobot DLC, which is what we kind of briefly mentioned earlier. The Midnight Walk, which was
real quick, Nick. Going back to
Uh-huh.
Horizon, I think I did see that when they talked about it or whatever, they did mention the fact that it's if you already own the game, it's like $10.
yeah, it
And
is
I
a
do
$2
like that
upgrade.
concept. I do like that concept. If they are going to remaster a game or whatever, obviously throw a few bucks the devs' way. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if Horizon Zero Dawn needed a remaster, but I do like that concept. The essentially the very reduced price upgrade for, maybe you picked up the game and you only played a few hours. And then you never got around to it, and now they're releasing this, and hey, I can play essentially the best version of the game for a few more bucks.
Isn't this kind of what they did
prefer
with
that,
The Last of Us 2 remastered?
I believe that's what they did. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a nice trend. But hey,
Just
they
real
also-
quick, I'm
so-
restarting
sorry.
OBS.
yeah, well, something's up with OBS right now. So if you're watching us live,
Well, they're not definitely.
If they're
not,
watching us
so.
live, they can't hear us right now.
that's
Yeah.
right. If you're right. So fuck you guys. Okay. Just kidding. I love you. The Midnight Walk, which is the next game from the studio that made Lost in Random, which I don't feel like many people played, but I liked that game a lot. It was the cool, like, Tim Burton-esque, like, RPG with dice rolling being kind of the key mechanic.
Which is getting a isometric sequel as well.
Yeah.
I wonder who's developing that.
That's a good question. But this is a claymation style game that's also very Tim Burton-esque. It has PSVR 2 compatibility, which is interesting. Like, and it looks like it's split between first person and third person. I don't know. It looks really kind of trippy and wild. So I'm gonna keep my eyes on that one. That looks like a game that you should maybe get high and play in VR, because like, what the fuck? Like, what is that even gonna be like? Hell Is Us was the other game that y'all said was very Nick coded, and I didn't really believe you at first, and then at some point that switch got flipped.
Yep.
Very much looks like Nick pilled. How did you describe it, Brad? It was like Death Stranding meets Dark Souls or something?
Yeah.
That's
Kind
accurate.
of double A Souls like that you're always playing.
Double A Souls games. I love me some double A Souls likes. But yeah, this looks like it has a cool world, maybe it's a cool story. It's fucked up looking. I don't know. Has lots of dudes missing faces. That was pretty cool. So Pal World, was that on PS5 today?
Okay,
apparently?
so technically it's
Metro.
Oh, we don't have to hit everything.
no, real quick, because Pal World is in the news right now because Nintendo is suing them inside Japan.
Yeah,
It's available everywhere
That's true.
outside of Japan on PS5. Just showing them.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Weird. I did not know that. This is for Chris Davis. Well, the Chris Davis is out there. Metro Awakening VR is coming on November 7th. But that's also coming
You're
to
just
PS.
as much of a fucking Metro girly as he, right?
I mean, I don't know about that. I am definitely
not.
more excited for Stalker 2 than I am for this Metro game. But hey, I'll play it. I'll play it.
That's so
Yeah.
funny because like he was like the Stalker fan when you just knew Metro, and you know I don't love Metro, but I love Metroid. Sorry, I don't love like Metro, at least the ones I played, but I really like Stalker. And now you're all like, that's just Metro. I'm a Stalker guy. That's crazy.
I don't know what to tell you. Chris Davis, what's the latest? What's going on? You look like you're like in the Discord call. You're like freezing, and it looks like the stream keeps restarting. So I don't know what's going on.
Could be his internet.
It could be my internet. Like
Or his
I restarted
computer
OBS and it
grinding
was
to a
working
halt.
just fine for a little bit, and now it's dropping frames, but it's consistently sending a signal.
Do you
Much
want to
better than it
pause
was.
and let you figure that out, and then we'll restart the recording? What's going on? Not restart the recording, but like.
Let's just keep going.
Okay.
If he gets
okay.
really bad,
start
I'll
with
let
my
you
game
know.
first, like, for fun.
I mean, I'm more worried about the audio being compromised because, like,
Yeah.
suddenly Chris
Well,
Davis.
the point is, Chris Davis is recording on his
Yeah.
local, and if it messes
Yeah.
up, then we'll just keep going, and we'll do another, sound, whatever it's called, roll call at the end.
All right. So we also have. So yeah, that Metro game's coming, which looks neat. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, I'll play that. But that is also coming to PC VR, which you said. I didn't see this. We didn't get to this in trailer talk. But Archage Chronicles. What was the deal with this? This is like
I didn't know what
apparently
it was.
a
I didn't watch
medieval Souls-like, is what it's. This is described as here.
I just missed it.
It's not the first
Oh.
one, from my understanding. Like this is a sequel.
Really?
MMO-ish.
Yeah, I'm getting MMO vibes, but the description I'm looking at here says nothing about MMO, so I'm kind of looking at it with a side eye. I don't know.
Archage is an MMORPG developed by a Korean developer and released in 2013.
What the fuck, IGN? Why are you not putting MMO in your description? How dare you?
Well, I mean, no, this is
Lu-
the sequel. This is Archage 2.
Oh, so this game might not be an MMO. This is Archage Chronicle is maybe a single player game.
Oh my god, we got to get off of this Korean MMO as fast as possible.
Lunar Remastered, Brad.
Woo!
You have words?
Yes.
You have words for that?
Yeah, I love the Lunar games, man. I really
Apparently
do.
Chris Davis does,
and
too.
like they, I don't know about. I mean, who knows? Whatever. Good for him. Yeah, I
I'll
mean,
go grab my
they're-
copy of Lunar and
they're-
show you.
Of course, you have a copy of Lunar. Yeah, no, I mean it's cool. Like any time a older game becomes like that, is actually great, but it's hard to play or find or play on a modern system, gets like a remaster like this, I'm all for it. I mean, we'll talk about the other one as well, right?
Soul Reaver.
Soul Reaver 1 and 2 are also getting remastered. That's one that I was kind of wishing they were doing a little more with, mostly because that was kind of, early-ish 3D game, so it had some like clunky elements that could have been, I would have liked to have seen like cleaned up in like maybe a proper remake or a more high-effort remaster or whatever. This is from Aspire, which is, they're the ones who did like the Tomb Raider remasters. And
what you're saying is Night Dive would have been preferable.
Probably the best thing that Aspire has ever released, because they're actually like a pretty shoddy like port house / remaster.
But
house.
Brad, they're making the remake of KOTOR.
They're no Night Dive. No, they're not. They're no Night Dive. I mean, they're literally not anymore. They got kicked off the project. So like I'm not expecting like big things. I am hoping that it is more along the lines of like Tomb Raider and less along the lines of like all the crappy like Star Wars ports that they did. That they can't even get running properly on a Switch, even though it's like a 20-year-old game, like that kind of shit. But it does look pretty decent, right? So like it might be, I do think it will be more in line for like the,
at the very least, it's putting Soul Reaver
remasters.
It's putting Soul Reaver back into like the zeitgeist, right?
But you
reintroducing it.
Let's not call it a zeitgeist. The problem is Embracer owns Soul Reaver, so at that point, I don't expect anything ever to happen with Legacy.
That's a good point.
Again, really.
That's a good point.
I bet you money that
this is good.
Yeah, I bet you money that the Blood Omen stuff they probably want to do hinges on whether this sells well.
But it's also stuff that they want to do. They also like behind the scenes canceled like dozens of projects, and I'm just imagine like whatever.
Yeah.
That was probably canceled. I mean, what does Embracer even have left? That
nobody knows. Apparently, Tomb Raider is still coming, and that's still safe somehow. But
but that's Amazon. Amazon's paying for that, right?
Yeah. That's a whole different thing. So real quick, we don't have to go through all the. Tower of Agaspo is the game that I mentioned earlier. That was the kind of like multiplayer centric. Nolan, you kind of you likened it to maybe something kind of like when we were playing like Valheim and stuff like that, but like maybe it looks more grandiose, I suppose.
It does look pretty interesting. For
paragliders and shit, like giant flying whales and stuff. Looks pretty neat. Coming in early access. Fear the Spotlight I also want to mention, because that was that cool horror game coming on, I think October 22nd it's like the first release from Blumhouse Studios. It's like and it looks pretty good, pretty spooky, pretty Halloween-y. Yeah. The Alan Wake 2 DLC was revealed, which is Control coded. Looks like it's a Control crossover, which I'm here for that. It's called The Lake House, so I'm here for that. And of course, they closed out with the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, which is official now. Ghost of. Go ahead.
I mean, I just want to throw in that
Chris Davis. What's happening?
He's frozen. Chris Davis.
No, he's frozen.
Uh-oh. Hello?
Okay, you froze, and we have no idea what you just said.
Is it you talking about the Fantasian port?
I mean, I was just gonna. Yeah,
I think he's getting us delayed right now. I think it is his internet.
Yeah, my internet's fucked. Okay, great.
Oh my god, this is killing me.
We knew about the Fantasian port, I think.
Oh my god,
I love this.
It was nice
Davis,
to see
him being on like a 15-second delay is amazing.
Chris Davis, when you hear me say this, put your right hand up. Oh my god. Ah!
Wow.
Okay. A nice 4 or 5 second delay.
Just drop from the call and join it again, I guess. I don't know. I mean, chat, how is chat doing with the stream?
Do you sorry, we're having technical difficulties tonight, probably because of internet issues. Do you want to cut this recording for a second and figure this out?
Yeah, let's cut it.
Okay, I'm gonna say yes because it's okay. We're gonna take a very short break. Come back, we'll do impressions. We have
anything to put UFO 50 in the second segment. Wow.
UFO 50, Space Marine 2, and more when we come back, so don't go anywhere. Everybody, we had to take an unexpected break earlier in the show because of technical issues, and during that time, Krispy has joined. Krispy has randomly graced us with his presence. We're here.
I found my way here.
Which means, of course, now we can start with Space Marine. I'm just kidding. Brad.
Hello.
You are ready to talk. Brad's dying to talk about UFO 50, and I'm gonna.
No, it's not even me dying to talk about it. I just didn't want to be a second segment game for once in my life.
Well, unfortunately, you weren't going to be a second segment game, but we were forced to take.
You were gonna bump. You were gonna bump my game completely.
All 50 of them, Nick.
Yeah, wow.
All 50 of them. So anyway,
I've been playing UFO 50. Have you heard about this? The new Mossmouth joint, aka Derek Yu Studio, creator of Spelunky. Him and some homies at Mossmouth and some other collaborators, indie game devs, board game creators.
Oh, look at all these pixels.
Have for the past, I don't know how many years, 7 years. I don't know when this was announced, but he did take a break to work on Spelunky 2 and whatnot. They made a retro compilation from a imaginary console that never existed, right? It's like they found the console and all the games, and that's sort of what this game is. So it's not just like 50 random indie games, which, by the way, there are 50 full retro style games, but they're like full games, ranging from, arcade style score based games to like full on RPGs and stuff. There's a civilization in this game.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Like when you boot up the game, it says play for with dinosaurs. Literally Civ with dinosaurs, Chris Davis.
What?
You have my full attention.
You have my attention, yes.
So
That's
when you boot up the game, it says play forever. And as someone who's put in over 20 hours now, and I feel like I have barely scratched the surface and barely touched some of these games, maybe you can play forever. So 50 full retro games. And they do cover like a period of like a time period, like from the early 80s to the late 80s, like 82 to 80, 83 to 89, I think. I don't know. So there's definitely and they even have little blurbs as like developer blurbs for like, oh, they were trying this with this game, or this is like the first game in their next era or whatever, so much so that, and so there's like connective tissue, right? Like not only do you see like stuff, not really assets, but stuff from like one game to the next, but like there are like literal like sequels to some of the earlier games.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, there's like 3 Campanella games, but the cool thing is, even amongst those, and I've heard it like in an interview, they wanted very little like repetition from game to game. Every game feels like completely unique from one another, and they were very much aiming for that. And if you've played games in like the 8-bit era, it was not like that. Like half the games that came out in the early years of the NES were just like space shooters, like side-scrolling shooters. And there is definitely like 1 or 2 of those in here, but I feel like every game kind of has its unique gimmick, unique hook. And I want to say, like, before I kind of get into the nitty gritty, and I believe the footage you're looking at is just kind of like it's just kind of like cycling game to game. Yeah. Eventually, I will start it like playing some of the games, but obviously it's a hard game to like capture footage for. I will say that
you can capture footage for like one of the 50 games. Like it's one of those things where
exactly. I do think I have a few, but yeah. I will say, like, I feel like some people would look at this and go, oh, well, 8-bit games, old games, not really for me. I didn't play games from the 80s. I don't like
looking
games
at me
from the 80s.
when he says this.
Not just you, but like other people.
Not
like
just
people in
you.
our community that are younger. Even me, like I played NES stuff back then, but I didn't love NES games. Like there's very few NES games that I'm in absolute love with. In fact, I argue that like NES games like don't, in my opinion, as a older man, don't hold up as well as like say Super Nintendo games. To me, like Super Nintendo games are kind of like 8-bit games, but like more refined. And the interesting thing about this collection is that the games are definitely evoking like the look and feel sort of games from those eras, but like one, like they're definitely doing some unique shit that you didn't really get in games back then. And two, like they're games that came out in the NES era, they were like kind of sloppy. Like they were like like balance wise, just not very refined. This feels like they're designed with like simple ideas or simple mechanics, but like they have like a more modern like polish to them. Like they're all 2-button games. Like every game on this collection you could play with 2 buttons, but like it feels like well considered and refined and balanced, which is not something that you didn't get that kind of confidence in the NES era. Like games were
I feel
like
that way a lot
sloppy.
about like retro style. I mean, outside of this compilation, like I had that same feeling when I played Gravity Circuit, which was kind of. Like
that's exactly it, right? That's exactly it. But like this game, like I feel like more explicitly is trying to nail, like they seem committed. Like, man, every single game here is going to be a 2-button game because this was a 2-button console back then, right? And like it's so easy to like well, let's just add more buttons because anybody who's playing this is playing on a system with more buttons. But no, they stick to the game plan, like in terms of the look, right? As well, like this fake console only had so many colors. They don't get wild with it. There's like crazy amount of like different art styles from game to game, but like they stick to the limits of like this console did this.
So right out of the gate, they like as a development team, they like, okay, let's make up a console, and then all the games that we design for it have to stick to the parameters that we set on a fictional piece of hardware.
That's sort of like, like you could tell like that was like their design philosophy from the beginning. So all this to say, this is not some like random assortment of indie games that they collected that just look retro. This is from the ground up designed as, I feel like, as like a pretty complete thought. That said, so I say that just so people think that maybe they've gone back to try some NES games and had a really tough time. Like, you give this one a shot and be a little patient, because I think you'll find that like, you're not going to get to like the kind of bullshit that you might have gotten into back then. Now there's still the games can still be really difficult, or like there are some games that have like a continue system or a live system or no live system, kind of like a one-shot type game. But I'm telling you, it's a little bit more refined. Like you'll get into like level design that is way more complex than anything that you saw back then. Right. Yeah. So I could talk about, it's 50 games. I've booted up all of them. I've dumped hours into some of them. I've barely scratched the surface. I haven't finished a single game yet. There are some that I'm absolutely in love with. There are some that I think that maybe I'm not really going to vibe with. There are some that I absolutely hated at first, but I stuck it out and I'm like absolutely in love with them. So one of them is like, the game that comes to mind that I've been playing like most recently, like a fuck ton of, is Golfaria, which is a golf Metroidvania. When I booted that shit up, I hated it. It was so frustrating and irritating. Because it's very physicsy, where you're like going up ramps and stuff, and you're keep landing in water and sand pits, and I was just getting so frustrated. And your live system was basically the amount of strokes that you had. So you had 20 strokes, and every time you moved throughout the world, your life was basically ticking down until you hit like a checkpoint and get your strokes back. And it was so frustrating at first. I was so mad. I was like, this game is trash. I'm going to go back to something I like. But like as I started to like a good Metroidvania, like a good Metroid game back then, as I started to like upgrade my amount of strokes and like started getting like abilities and started kind of learning the quirks of the physics, absolutely, I'm in love with it now. It's like actually fucking awesome. And it's getting to the point with some of these games where they're standing out of this collection in a way that I wasn't expecting, meaning that like UFO 50, which at this point a shoe-in for my top 10, is like unfair, because I think some of the games I've been playing within this collection of the 50 games are like top 10 contenders on their own.
This is the ultimate Brad cheat code for top 10 of the year. He's like, I can fit 50 in one slot.
No, Perfect. It's not that. It's more that I want to also do a top 10 list of just my favorite 10 favorite games from this game, because there are like some legitimately cool ones. There's a deck builder in this game that is like not just as addictive as what you like a Balatro. You know, Balatro came out this year. I've been playing this game Party House, which is also a deck builder.
I've seen people in Discord talking about Party House.
It is a Balatro like, if you want to call it that, if that's our modern touchstone. But it's so cool because you're trying to throw a party, and your cards are basically just like guests to your party, and you're trying to fill up the party as much as you can without the cops being called on you. And every party member has like a popularity rating, or like they can like, so like they have like the popular kid, like it will give you like 1 popularity, or like the rich kid will give you like $1 money. And those are like the 2 currencies that at the end of your party, you're trying to calculate how much popularity you've gained and how much money you've gained without the cops being called. Because some of the people that you bring into your house during the party are trouble. They're trouble. Like they have like a trouble rating. And if you bring in 3 members to your party that are trouble, the cops get called and the party's over, and you don't get any of your popularity, you don't get any of your money, and you have 25 parties to like hit a certain goal. And you're very funny, Crispy. Like the first one is you have to like throw a party with 4 aliens, but like to get an alien to come to your party, you have to have raised like an insane amount of popularity, and you have 25 parties to like build up enough of this popularity currency to invite 4 aliens to your party and actually have that party like go off without the cops being called. It's insanely clever, insanely addictive in a way that like it might look retro. It might be a 2-button game, but like this is absolutely a game, a deck builder. I think people would be talking about if it wasn't part of this collection, if the graphics looked like, you know, like a modern
standalone
deck builder. Like, yeah. And it's simple, but it's like refined and smart and clever, and there's a lot to it. And I've literally played it for hours, and I could play for hours and hours more. It's cool that there are like kind of forever games in here, that there's score-based games, that there's roguelikes, deck builders and stuff, because those are like Spelunky. Like there are some of those in here, and those are games you could literally play forever. So to think of this collection as not just like this remarkable achievement I've never seen done before, the boyhood of video games, to think that there are literally some games in here that you could also just play forever literally is crazy. Like one you just saw. I have the thing running on both my thing and okay, let me just look at this.
Are you confusing yourself?
So like one of the developers who worked on some of the games is the creator of Downwell, and like one of the games in here is just like basically Upwell. It's like Downwell, but you're going up and you have a gun and you're shooting things, but like Downwell, which is like a really awesome like in score-based indie game. There's just another one of those in here, and it's different enough and it's cool enough, and I absolutely love it. So the one you're watching now is a game called Mortal, which by the way, there's Mortal 2, which similar premise but like very different structure and stuff. Fuck? This is a platformer where everything you do like basically kills your character, and you only have so many lives to get through the game, get through the level and get through the game. And so like you can like blow your character up, you can like shoot your dude into a wall as like a platform, or you can like turn him into stone so you can like get across spikes or whatever.
So everywhere you die, the body
every
stays,
time you
but
do
it
that,
affects the environment,
you're losing a life. So you're trying to puzzle your way through to get as far into a stage with losing as few lives as possible, and getting like the extra life pickups, which are in places that are like very dangerous. So it's like, I could probably like spend a couple of lives getting down there.
It's a risk and reward game.
But like I need to do this in a couple lives, or like the whole trip is not going to be worth it. And like sort of puzzling that out, because again, it feels very well put together, very well considered. Like, this is not like random NES like design where like I'm playing Ninja Gaiden and birds are spawning off the side of the screen like endlessly, and this is infuriating, but whatever, the music's cool. Like, you know, it's made by people who make games now, and that's very different than the way games were made in the 80s. So it looks like an 80s game, but it has like a cool, unique idea and it feels refined. And that's why this whole collection works. Like it's such a neat idea. And then they do Mortal 2, which comes out like years later in the lore. And it's the same premise, except that is a game that's kind of like it's like one connected world, like Miner Dig Deep or something, right? Where you're trying to get down to the bottom of the world, I guess, which is like it's one connected world. And now you can select different classes and each class does something. And like the warrior, he can like slash and stuff, right? And actually like put up a good effort to actually fight things. But if he dies, he dies, right? You're still back at the top of the world, right? But if you pick the ninja, who's not very good at fighting, he can create, when he dies, he creates like a teleporter that can let your guys get a little bit further in the world when you respawn. Or like there's a guy, like the engineer can actually, when he dies and sacrifices himself, he can create like pipes through a wall that again are creating more shortcuts, kind of like ladders and ropes and stuff.
So the world is changing every time
in like
SteamWorld
World Dig or whatever. Yeah, the world's changing every time as you lose lives. And in that game, it's not level based. It's one world. You have 99 lives to get to the bottom of the end of the game. And it's like
Mortal
it's
1
cool,
is
like
level
puzzling
based?
all that shit out.
Mortal 1, like what we're seeing now, is
Mortal
level
1
based.
is level based, yeah.
Okay.
And Mortal 2 is like a singular world map. And it's cool to see sequels take
It's
that
like
idea,
modern
but
game development
like,
where like the sequel is like the expansive or more expanded version of the original kind of thing.
Yeah. And there's another series that's just kind of like actually gets into completely different genres. But and again, I could literally talk for hours about all these games because I've literally been playing so many of them, and I keep getting surprised by like how much I'm like falling for a lot of these games because when I started it, and if you're playing like chronologically, you start with a lot of like maybe like the score based games and some of the games that are more brutal in terms of like continues and checkpointing. And as you get further into the chronology, you start running into like games with save points, like Metroidvanias, like Warp Tank, which is very similar to a game I played called Dundara, which is an indie game that I don't think a lot of people play, but it's the one where you could like your only movement is like jumping from the bottom screen to the top screen, like you can't like just walk sideways. I mean, Warp Tank is kind of like that, where like all the platforming is sort of in the platforming, like puzzle platforming and design is like designed around like only being able to like shoot. I mean, you can move, but it's structured in such a way where like your movement is basically zapping yourself from the ceiling to the bottom and you can shoot things. And it's like, again, it starts off as such a simple idea, but then the level design gets like fiendishly tricky and clever and it's fucking good. It's good. I want to shout out Rail Heist. By the way, the footage you're looking at now is this Party House game, which again, if you're just glancing at it, you're like, I don't know what I'm looking at, but I think one of the cool things about this game is when you boot up a game and you're just kind of looking at it, you're like, okay, this looks really old. I don't know what this is. I think I know what this is. But that when you start to realize like, oh, this is like an actual like competent deck builder, that discovery is like a really cool thing. You were watching footage of me like a side scroller on like a train earlier.
Yeah.
Right?
Train heist.
Me figuring out that game went from like, oh, this is going to be a side scrolling like action cowboy game where I'm going to shoot some dudes on a train and try to get some gold, to realizing this is a no. This is more like a side scrolling. It's like Worms meets Hitman / Metal Gear Solid.
What?
And with like full destruction, and it's absolute insanity. It's insanity. I've never played a game like this. Everything is like destructible.
And you guys
Everything is like
years yelling at me for throwing out weird fucking game combinations.
We did.
The Worms comparison is actually kind of wild, but it was the only thing that made sense to me, right? It's very like deliberate in terms of like, you got to get into this train, you got to get the gold, and you got to get out, right? Which is very like Metal Gear Solid or Hitman, right? But like everything is like fully destructible, and everything is like very almost Spelunky-esque, right? Where you throw a box at something and then it bounces off of something else, and that knocks a guy into view and he takes a shot at you and you're dead, but you bounce way high up into the air where another guy was primed for a shot and he shoots you too, and it's just comical, right? But like, I didn't realize what was going on at first. Like it was one of the things about this game is like, these are games that didn't come with the manuals, right? There are games that didn't have manuals, or maybe they did, but they weren't that helpful. You just kind of had to figure out games back then by just fucking with them, right? Especially if you were renting games from a rental store and you didn't have the manual.
Yeah,
right?
you don't have the manual. So that's what I was going to say, Brad, is that the little bit of time I've spent with the game so far is that's how I feel as well. Yeah, you boot up, and that's how I remember feeling when I was younger too. When you would boot up a game like this, you don't really understand what's going on. You don't really, you're kind of just pressing buttons, trying to figure it out. The game gives you a little bit of info, but yeah, that's kind of part of the charm is trying to figure out what's going on and how to solve things. Like you said, you kind of have a general idea of what you're trying to get done, but you don't know the best way to go about it. And so that's what like I said, I've only actually spent a good chunk of my time playing this game with one, because similar to you, I kind of just started. I didn't do them chronologically. I just picked randomly. I think I picked the 25th game or 26th game. And it was a fighting game, and so I played that one for a while, and then I switched to a different one.
Was it Bushido Ball, or was it the one where like every character has a completely different like movement style?
That one. I don't remember the name of it.
That's the crazy thing. 50 games, half of them support like multiplayer or co-op. Half of them.
That's insane. That's insane.
Which is insane. Because some of these games, I wish so badly I had somebody here to play them with. Because when I played that game, Nolan, to me, I was like, this is like, I'm playing against the AI, but I'm immediately getting like Towerfall, Samurai Gun energy from this. And I so badly want to be playing this with somebody on the couch right now.
Yeah.
But not one of my
So
children,
for that game, just
they're
as an
not
example, once again, I didn't know what I was doing. I could tell that it was a fighting versus game. I just picked a random character. I didn't realize that his movement was every time you click essentially what would be the jump button, gravity reverses for him.
Yeah.
So I'm just like constantly having to bounce up and down, and his attack is like a rocket he launches. Versus other people a couple of the enemies I fought, one of them like laid down mines on the floor and just could jump like regular.
I will say that dude who could flip gravity VVV style. There is a Metroidvania in UFO 50 where you play as a character, maybe that character, and he can reverse gravity. That's like the core like conceit of that game. It's so cool. But yeah, that game, I was having so much fun and just playing against the AI, and I was like, oh, I wish I was like in a college dorm right now, because I would play this literally all night,
dude, for sure.
And it feels like, again, well made, like more so than this. I don't know. And Bushido Ball is another one, which is just like Windjammers, and you're just like different like samurai, and it's basically just Pong, but like you're like a samurai and you have like special abilities and stuff. And again, I'm just playing the AI and I'm like, oh, I wish there was a human. But even like the strategy games, like that Dinosaur Civ game or whatever, those are also like multiplayer. You can play those with other people, and I feel like UFO 50 is such a novelty. And it's only $25.
Yeah,
I would recommend it to anyone, like just for the novelty factor, the good price. But if you have like
this game is $25.
Yeah, exactly.
That's 50 cents a game, Nick.
50 cents.
If you have people around to play multiplayer with, this is like absolutely like buy this instantly, because I think that's like is so well put together.
Damn.
The other thing is
the shame is since we're doing the family sharing thing, we can't play the game at the same time.
No. So, I don't even know if it supports online.
I don't think it's online.
I'm pretty sure it's just local multiplayer.
But the other game I was playing that, like I said, after kind of bouncing around and finding one that I kind of started gelling with, was what was it called? Devolution, I think.
Devolution, yeah,
Devolution. Cool. It's a puzzle based game where you essentially,
I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, something
Devolution,
like that. You're given a bunch of random devices. I don't know what you want to call them. They look like, some of them look like devices, some look like creatures, and they attack in a certain pattern. And then you have to set up chain reactions to eliminate a bunch of enemies.
It's like a deception game, kind of. It's like a 8-bit deception game, or like Trapped or whatever. I don't know if you know that series as where you're setting up traps.
Yeah, no, Trapped is a good example. Yeah, but yeah, you're trying to set up essentially, at the end of the day, you want more villagers alive than enemies, and as long as that is the case, you move on to the next level. But it gets more and more complex, where now all of a sudden you're having enemies that require multiple hits, and so you can't just set up a trap right next to them. And the problem is, as well, is you don't know what other traps you're going to get further on. You at any point in time, you only have 3 available to you, and as soon as you use one, it gives you another random one.
That game
And so
desperately needs like an undo. Though.
Oh, dude! Oh my God! It would,
or like,
or
like a retry. Like you fuck up one thing in your chain reaction, you're like,
oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's the problem. Is you can easily So I don't know. I kind of got not addicted, but I was definitely enjoying my time with that one to the point where, like I said, even after I failed a couple of times, I was restarting from the beginning instead of trying another game because I was like, hold on, I think I could get a little bit farther in this. But yeah, that's the point of the fact that that's only a 50-cent game for all intents and purposes, and I've already played it for a couple of hours.
There's a game called Mooncat. By the way, this is like a full like horror point and click adventure game, which I'm not. I'm just like I've been like kind of saving it. I might actually stream this thing. But what I hear is like not only is it good, but it's like actually kind of like atmospheric and stuff. Anyways, there's a game called Mooncat, which is a platformer. It's a platformer that is like, well, what if Mario never existed? What if this is how you control a platformer? And it breaks my fucking brain. Just like doing the most basic actions in that game. If you were just to watch someone playing it accurately, it would just look like an 8-bit platformer. But if you put your hands on it, like doing the things that it is requiring that person to do is so like broken, like the it's so broken from like how you expect a platformer to control that it's like input comedy. It's input comedy. So you know how like you're playing Mario, I'm going to walk forward, I'm going to press forward, right? I'm going to press the jump button, right? Well, in this game, to go forward, you press like B or whatever, A or whatever. And to go left, you press another button, right?
Oh, God,
and
that sounds
you press like a D-pad button, right? So you're going left and right with buttons, right? But to jump, you have to, while holding the direction you're moving, which is a button, you press the opposite button, and that jumps you in that direction. Wow. So because this is a 2-button game, right? To jump, you actually have to press the other direction to jump forward. And then, so if you want to jump the opposite direction, you're holding that direction while pressing it's not only hard to explain, but when you get into a situation where it's like, imagine like it's a Castlevania game and there's a Medusa head coming for me. What the fuck am I going to do? Like going through the amount of like mental
gymnastics,
like it requires so much mental effort to do. Like in another game would be so simple. In this game, it's like doing calculus. Okay, like what do I fucking press? This thing's coming towards me. I'm gonna die. I think I do this. And there's so many times where you're just like, you're super confident and like, I'm just going to make this jump. And then you just accidentally like walk off the edge in the opposite direction. And you're like, God damn it. Because it's a game that
it's like a game designed around like rubbing your head and or rubbing your stomach and patting yourself on the head at the same time.
But it's also like if this was the Mario back then all our games would be like this, and it'd be like, this is just how games play.
Well, thank
it's
God
such a
it
cool
wasn't
idea for a game.
Although,
but yeah, it might be a
Cord Lovey in chat says that'd be fun to watch on the stream.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But that's the thing. If you're watching someone who's good at it, it's just going to look like an old.
Well, don't be good at it, Brad. Be bad.
You have to have someone explain. You have to put your hands on it to understand the madness. To be honest, because it's wild.
The whole game sounds pretty wild.
It is, man. And again, wild. You know, there's too much to say. 50 games, 50 full games. That is a lot.
No, that is for sure.
Again, so I just have a short list to 5 games that I want to shout out as like probably my favorites so far. That so people who are, because I know people are picking it up, but it gets a little overwhelming. Like, where do I start? What do I like? The ones I like a lot so far are so many of them.
I thought you had this list prepared. Are you trying to make
Yeah, I
this decision
do.
on the
Rail
fly?
Heist. Well, the list got too long, so I really like that Party House game. I really like Rail Heist, even though I didn't really get to fully get into like why it's so wild. Just give it a shot. Golfaria is a game that, again, infuriating at first, but as I got more into it, absolutely love. The Mortal games are cool. That game I was just describing, Mooncat. Grimstone is just a straight up like Dragon Quest game, but it's like a Wild West like Dragon Quest game.
Fuck yeah.
And it's like surprisingly addictive. It's like brutally difficult. So I'm getting really into like the grinding. But there was, again, like as I told you about, like, games back then were like a little sloppy, a little unbalanced. Like
That's
this game,
grinding.
it doesn't feel like that, right? So I feel like,
Nice.
oh, I'm gonna grind, I'm gonna get there, I'm not gonna run into anything too crazy. It's gonna be a hard game, but like it's not gonna I'm not gonna get myself into a position where I can't progress anymore. Which is something that could happen back then. Like, you know, like with point and click adventure games, even
That's
you could
true,
just
yeah.
like fuck up and not be able to finish the game. Like here, it's not like that. You know, this was made in modern times, so it's cool. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Pretty
I
neat.
can't stop playing it. And I'm
Can't
actually
stop, won't
mad.
stop.
I'm actually mad that in a year where I've started so many cool games and finished so few of them, that I literally have just introduced 50 more games into my backlog.
You done messed up. I don't know.
I messed up.
That's a bad idea. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. It's pretty sweet. Swing the pendulum back over in a completely different direction. I'm glad Krispy's here for this segment, because he was about to leave me high and dry to try and talk about Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 all on my own. Space racism, yeah. Thank you. Krispy had that one keyed up and ready to go. Yeah, and so I've been playing Space Marine 2. Krispy, you've been playing it, I imagine, as well.
I've been playing it. Yes, I have.
I don't know how far are you?
I heard
Just
it's like an
curiosity.
81. I don't know.
Shut the fuck up. Don't be a bitch, Brad. You know,
Yeah, go fuck yourself, bro. I hate you.
there is nothing wrong with a solid 80, 81, 83. It's so good.
So, I've finished the single player campaign, and I've
Oh,
done
shit.
all the co-op operations,
Oh shit.
and I
So you've,
played
like-
a significant amount of the PvP.
Oh, so you
So-
finished Space Marine
Yeah,
too?
so this is great.
Yeah,
that
I've
Krispy's
basically
here.
played enough to the point where I'm like waiting for DLC now,
Oh.
and I am waiting because it's pretty good.
It's
like-
pretty good.
It's pretty fun. Like,
You know what
it-
we were
it
joking
kinda
about we were kind of joking about Saber Interactive and how they've never really made like a game that feels good to play.
Well, that's
I
not
mean,
very
to be
crazy.
fair, this
Well,
is them making a sequel
They have
to a
not
game
made
that
a
already
high. They don't make high scoring games.
They were saying something in IGN or game. I think it was IGN. This week, where like they were like kind of like, oh, they were a little caught off guard by the success of Space Marine 2, and they're like reevaluating their their like DLC for the game, because
Oh, yeah.
I think they were originally gonna do like they're adding a bunch of like customization stuff. So like they have that they're doing like they've already done one for the Ultramarines. They're gonna do one for the Dark Angels next, like chapter specific customization options if you want to play like as different Space Marine chapters. But it sounded like they were only gonna add like one mission next season and then another mission the season after that, and then they kind of didn't have any like firm plans, and now they're like, oh yeah, we're fucking
we need to do all the stuff.
yeah, we're doing it, we're going for it, because and like the campaign leaves off on a note, like, dude, it's wild. This honestly is very like feels like maybe what Suicide Squad wanted to be.
Except
that's
it-
that's an
Except
interesting
Suicide Squad
thought.
also had to be this like weird open world sequel to
Arkham.
Arkham. Yeah, because like the campaign, you deal with like the threat of the campaign, but it ends in a very like, okay, now the war is like really starting. Let's get to it.
It
you
feels
know?
like a middle chapter almost.
It,
maybe?
well, yeah, kind of. There's kind of a surprise character reveal at the end of the campaign. of like, I mean, it's no one you guys are gonna care about. Chris Davis might care, but none of you guys are gonna care about.
I don't think he's on Warhammer.
I mean, I am
but
getting
he
kind of
played
into
the
what's
first
going
game,
on here.
and the character that shows up is from the first game.
Oh, I've played.
I think I know who you're
too.
talking about.
I
If
couldn't
it's not the
probably
rookie
name-
character from the first game, then it's one of the Inquisitors.
Anyway, how far are you, Nick? How much have you done?
Well, so I played for about. So I recorded this footage you're watching last night, and this is just kind of where I was when I started, and I played.
This is like
one
the second
level
or third
pat-
mission.
This is like the fourth. I think it might actually be the fourth, technically, because you do 2 missions on one planet, and then you go to another, and this is the third planet. Yeah, so I think this is the 4th mission. I could be wrong on that. So I played this mission last night, and then I played the mission right after it.
Have you
So
gotten
I think I'm like
far
6
enough
hours
to
in.
where you're fighting like non-Tyranids?
No, not yet, but I feel like it's coming. Like it's
I think this game really shines, especially in the first half when you're fighting Tyranids. Like,
yeah.
the set pieces where it's like, hold out on this position and they're just sending like literal swarms of them after you
Yeah.
are incredible.
It's
So
pretty
cool.
fucking wild.
Like,
I mean,
Did you say
every
better than Days Gone hordes?
I don't know.
Those are
I
very
mean,
different
I
kinds
think
of-
what happened here is that this is Saber. They made the World War Z games, and those had pretty cool.
that
horde
was,
tech.
I keep
pretty-
forgetting about that. I keep forgetting
that
they
was a
made
pretty
World
big
War
part
Z.
of the marketing that they were doing that same thing with
Yeah.
like the Tyranids, the Tormagants or whatever they're called. And yeah, like they're like you'll be on these like elevated positions with like walls basically protecting you from swarms of these things coming at you, and then they just like pile on top of each other until there's enough of them that they can like start swarming over the top. And yeah, and it's so good because not only that's going on, but like every fucking weapon just like feels so good. Like any of the like the heavy auto bolter has like become one of my favorites, and it's just like a machine gun that's just like dun, 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 like every single hit, like because the whole thing with these guns is that like they're supposed to be so big that like a normal human can't really fire them because they're like machine guns, but they fire rockets, like little rocket propelled rounds, and it like really feels impactful. It feels good.
I mean, that was one thing about the original game that always stood out to me, and holds true here, is just how much like oomph you feel. Like every step you take, every like
move you make.
round you fire out of. Yeah, I knew somebody was gonna jump on it. Of course, it was Chris Davis. But yeah, like everything you do in this game feels like it has weight to it, and that was one thing I was like, if they somehow managed to fuck that up, like I could see maybe Saber.
Everything has
somehow
weight,
ruining that aspect, but everything has weight.
But it also has speed. Like it's got a little bit of that like Doom magic where it's like when you get into like when you get your tempo of just like running around murdering everything, like glory kills into like firing.
I love like when the smaller Tyranids come jumping at you, whatever, and you have,
and you just like catch them and like stab them. Like dude, they're so like some of those are so casual too. They're amazing. Like there's one with the power sword where he just like adjusts the sword and they just like jump on it and he just like wipes them off. Like it's so good. It's so good. Dude. There's no like formalized cover system in the game, but like there's a lot of moments where you feel like you need like it gets so intense, like especially on higher difficulties. Like some of those fights get so intense.
I'm kind of glad it doesn't have a cover system because I feel like if it did, it would be dangerously close to feeling like a Gears game.
Well, I mean, the original game was kind of designed as the anti-cover shooter. Like a game its systems were designed to where it would kind of punish you if you weren't running into the fray.
Yeah, and I can see that being the same here, especially with all the swarms. Because that it gets overwhelming very quickly. But like the fun of the game is getting into the fray because like you are very powerful. You just feel like a absolute killing machine. And it's so cool.
Nick, I know because you've only been playing the single player campaign, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. So far, yeah.
Okay, you're missing some of the best content in the game.
Play the other stuff.
You're missing some of the best content in the game. I'll tell you that.
I'll play some of it with you and maybe some community members. I don't know how that, but I want to get to the single player campaign.
It's fun
first.
Yeah, I mean, so like the way the co-op missions work is at certain points in the single player campaign, you'll like your team will be executing like part of a plan, and there's another fire team that Titus is in command of after a certain point that he sends to go do like the other thing, and the co-op missions are you doing those other missions. Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
As this like other team. And like some of the shit they get into is pretty cool. The only dreadnought in this game that I know of is in the co-op missions, and dreadnoughts are so fucking cool. If you don't know, there's the big like mech walkers that have like the corpse of a dead space marine inside of them. Like
That's wild.
And he fucks.
Very much like
there's also some weapons that I don't think are in the single player campaign. Like I don't
that would
think,
make sense.
Or I don't know. I mean, I guess they unlock and it's just up to you to equip them. Like, have you used a lot of the different melee weapons?
Yeah, so I've been kind of experimenting. The one thing I will say about it, because when in between the missions you go back to this like the space
battle
station.
barge?
Yeah, the barge.
That's a ship. It's massive.
Yeah, and you can run. It's like a hub, and you can run around it, and there's it's cool, like running around the hub.
Is there?
Running around the barge and hearing all the conversations happening and seeing all the kind of the stuff happen makes me go, God, I wish I knew more about Warhammer lore, because obviously it's very fucking deep. But like the atmosphere on the barge is so fucking cool, and like all these conversations that are happening off it. Sometimes I'll just
like,
stop
the
and
little
listen.
chapels and like the chaplains in there, like preaching and it like 40K is one of those things where like it is entirely about the vibe. Like you have to nail the vibe.
Yeah,
and they nailed it. I think they fucking nailed it.
Because the vibe is like the whole thing, and it's a bunch of like it's all goofy as shit. Like it's all dumb and stupid and goofy, like completely impractical. But you have to be like serious about it, and you have to like have that kind of like tone to sell it and make it believable, right? And everything about this game sells it. Like,
so
it's fucking.
But what I was saying, like when you're on the barge, you can go to an armory and you can like in between missions and you can change your loadout, which is cool. But like it almost seems pointless, because the moment you get into a mission, it's like you take 5 steps and it's like, oh, here's a new weapon. You're
here's
like,
a
okay,
bunch of weapons,
you just start changing shit out willy nilly.
That become, I mean, like what becomes more important, especially like in co-op missions, is like setting up your own. Like you get 3 pre-made loadouts for every class.
Yeah.
Setting those up so that when you find like the armory stations in the level, you can like that one you're walking up to right now. You can switch out depending on like what the next section is. Because there's a lot of like I think the like specialization of the weapons all feel really good. Like there are certain situations where it's like I don't want to have a sniper rifle, I want to have a fucking melta-gun. Oh my god, Nick, how cool is the melta-gun, right? Like,
Dude, the melta-gun is awesome.
The melta is just like it just
like
shoots
blast
like a wave of heat. Like
yeah, and it just like disintegrates anything in its path.
so good.
So I have 2 questions. The first one, and the slightly less important one, is the jetpack still fucking awesome?
Yes.
It feels like a fucking rocket. Like it doesn't feel like it's making you floaty or fly around. It feels like a space shuttle taking off and then crashing.
Yes, I love that. Excellent.
And when you do that with like any of the melee weapons, it feels amazing. With the hammer, like the power hammer, feels incredible. Also with the power fist, like there's literally a build where you're just like flying in the air and then like landing, doing the superhero landing with a giant comically oversized fist, and everything around you is exploding. Like
I'm so
it's pretty
so
good. It's pretty good.
cool.
So
it's
my other
so
question,
cool.
So my other question, and the more important one to me, and the main reason why I haven't played this game yet, is that there is just a certain amount of charm from the original Space Marine game, from the orcs and their idiocy and their stupidity that just you fall in love with. Sure, I know this is a more serious game for very serious people, but is there any level of that charm kind of in here?
I mean, it's not like oppressively. It's serious the way that like Doom is serious, right? Where like it's grim stuff, but like
I mean, it seems to me like
but we're not afraid of it because we're badasses, you know. Like,
and they've obviously traded the orcs for Tyranids, which are not like the orcs were kind of goofy. They could talk. They had.
I mean, the orcs are incredible. I love the orcs.
The orcs are incredible.
The Tyranids,
the lore behind the orcs alone is amazing.
Yeah, how they're like hyper psychic fungus who, like, their weapons are just a bunch of junk that they stick together, but it works because they all believe it works. Like,
yeah, they have the ability to.
If they paint their cars red, the cars go faster because they think red is a fast color. Like,
yes, like they have the ability to bend realities, but they're so many stupid that they can't conquer the universe.
Right. There's so many fucking really fun things. Like,
well,
really
Tyranids are not that.
No, Tyranids are the Zerg, if you recall the Zerg from StarCraft. That is exactly what they are.
Legally distinct.
Legally distinct Zerg, or actually Zerg are legally distinct Tyranids. But, no, I don't think the game loses the charm. I mean, orcs are fun, but, like, come on, the charm of that first game was being a space marine and being this unstoppable two-legged tank juggernaut. Like,
you're on the barge and there's floating babies with
the
like,
cherubs.
The cherubs are just kind of like flying around doing stuff.
I mean I've dabbled in 40K lore before. I've read a couple of the books. I've played video games. I've never played the actual tabletop game. I know a lot about. I have various approximate knowledge of many things in 40K, right? But playing this game was really, like, amping me up, and I'm just, like, sitting on the wiki, like, looking stuff up, like, as I'm playing the game, and I found a great discussion about cherubs where, like, somebody was like, are these actual, like, dead babies that they turn into winged servitors? And then somebody was like, no, don't worry, they're not dead babies, they're just cloned babies that are made to be servitors, like, as if that was not
somehow
also
better.
Existentially horrifying. Like it's so good.
Everything in this game, when you stop,
everything is fucking
horrifying.
repugnant and like awful to an nth degree. It's so good, and that like they've got all those cherubs flying around. They've got like cathedrals everywhere. They've got.
It's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful.
It's incredible.
Game too.
You should see there's a really nice set piece with the Imperial Guard later on where you like walk through an Imperial Guard staging area, and like that shit is so fucking cool. And they're just like one guy's like giving an impassioned speech to the troops while they're like executing traitors in the background. Like we're gonna
fucking wild.
Like,
you know,
deserters.
So we don't need to spend a lot of time talking about this, obviously, but like I am curious because I didn't really want to be influenced by like what reviews were saying about it, and I was like, it reviewed kind of soft, but I also felt the same way about Black Myth Wukong a little bit, but like it reviewed kind of soft, but like what exactly is the problem people are having with this game? Because it seems pretty fucking rock solid, kind of from front to back, at least so far. I mean, I've played 6 or 7 hours of it at this point.
Really, no.
And
I haven't been super involved in conversation about the game.
I mean, I wasn't really like expecting it to be like a 90 plus, but like,
why isn't it? Is that what you're asking?
80, I'm more like I was like, I didn't even get to like mid-80s.
I think one thing that is I think Brad sabotaged it a little bit, but I think he personally pulled some strings and got the reviews borked.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it
I
past
think he called in the last of his
major websites.
Like, he called in the last of his like heyday of Twitch TV favors and got it all fucked up. It's a conspiracy. The tell-all is coming soon.
Stay tuned.
The one thing I will say about the game, which probably explains some of the lackluster response, is that like I think I've put maybe 30 hours into it all told. But I definitely feel like I forced the last few of those, you know? Like I was kind of ready to move on. Like I just like playing the game, and I like the idea of like unlocking the customizations for the different Space Marines, but it's not like I was really experiencing like much in the way of like enriching new content after a certain point. Like what is there is pretty good. I mean, is really good, but it's, 8 or so story missions, 6 co-op missions, and then like the same 2 or 3 multiplayer maps over and over again, right? So for a game that started at $70, like its base price was $70, that's maybe a little, rich.
That might be fair. Yeah.
It is a game, like I said, it is a game where like I feel like pretty soon you are in a like, if you enjoyed it, you're in a waiting for DLC kind of mode, And apparently that stuff's coming pretty soon. Like we're gonna get a couple, like there's 1 or 2 seasons before the end of the year, So I don't know. And now it sounds like now they feel like they have something, so now they really want to.
Yeah. Well, I'm also at the end of the day too, I do, because we did joke a lot about kind of like Aspire, not Aspire, Saber Interactive isn't really known for making great games, and to be fair, this was building off of kind of a formula and a something that was pre-established, right? But like this game feels very well put together, and it feels fun it's great fun to play. The presentation is phenomenal. So like, I don't know. I'm very pleasantly surprised by this experience. So
I'm glad.
I fully intend to keep going. And maybe I'll try out some co-op
Was the
stuff with
first
community.
Space Marine game like unsuccessful? Because it's wild. This game is like a huge success.
Yeah.
From what I understand.
All I know is the original Space Marine has always been kind of a maybe, I don't know what the reception was when it came out. I know Space Marine.
Well, no, I'm not even talking about critical. I'm talking about, because I mean, like,
I think, I don't know. It
for all
did
we know,
about
this game back,
like,
huh?
You're saying this game's only an 80, I mean, I think it was.
No. I'm not talking about scores. I'm talking about no one bought the first game, but everybody bought this one. Like this game is doing extraordinarily well.
I don't think
first game
I don't
was
think a
like,
lot of people bought the game when it came out, but now it's one of those like.
Like
I'm
a Dragon's
sure
Dogma.
it's been given away for free on like for Game Pass, and like PlayStation probably gave it away on PlayStation Plus. Like,
but I mean, were
of
people
have
less into
played it.
Warhammer back then, or like
Also,
less people into
yes,
Warhammer?
I think Warhammer. I think Warhammer has, and it's been around forever, and it's always been like a huge deal in the UK. In the US, it's kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit more, I think, and I think we've kind of been in the upturn of an ebb around the time that first Warhammer game came out. And it's one of those games where it's like, if you're getting into Warhammer, which a lot of people have been getting into Warhammer, I mean, fucking Henry Cavill talking about it probably got a bunch of people into it, you know what I mean?
I was gonna say, it does not hurt that he's pounding the pavement.
Yeah, like, it got more popular, and if you're going online being like, what are good video games I should play? Like, that's one that'll pop up, Yeah. So I think it's a game that maybe found an audience after the fact. You know what I mean?
And now the sequel is just kind of benefiting from that.
The original Space Marine.
It's powerful stuff, man. I was looking at fucking pre-painted armies on eBay yesterday. I'm getting a little sick. Like I'm kind of like getting a little like drawn in here a little bit,
Crispy,
this shit made me cry. No, I'm just kidding.
Crispy, you can't afford to get into Warhammer.
No, I mean, I think I can. I think if I could buy like I was talking to a friend, he was like, "Man, if we just like let's just both buy like a combat patrol box, put those together, and then it's like a little like 200-point army or something, and you can play that way." And I was like, "Yeah, maybe, I don't know." And like, I don't know.
A drug habit is cheaper, Crispy.
Well, okay. I'll tell you what. After this, I went and bought and started playing Rogue Trader, the Baldur's Gate 3 competitor, the Baldur's Gate 3 killer.
I saw you were playing that because it popped up in my library on my Steam Deck. I was like, wait a minute, why is Rogue Trader here?
I've played about 10 hours of it so far, and that is also pretty good. Like, it's kind of cool.
I was looking at the companions, and there's a lot of ladies in that.
There's a lot of ladies. I mean,
they look cool.
I only have 4 characters, including my custom character. The only dude in my character's a dude, but the Seneschal's a dude. But I've already got the Psyker and the Sister of Battle as party members, and like they are both very cool, very sick. I think there's like an Eldar assassin lady that you can recruit. That's kind of fucking cool. I just recruited a tech priest, and he's a real fucking weirdo.
I need to check this. I need to check this out. I didn't know there was like.
Well, you
like
need
a
to finish
Baldur's
Baldur's Gate 3.
You're right.
And then you can think about playing Rogue Trader, right?
Yeah,
but Rogue
playing
Trader,
another CRPG for you, Nick, would be unhinged.
Like
Absolutely
I'll talk
unhinged.
about this. I'll probably talk about it a little bit more later. I did want to say that like it is really cool. It's got an amazing vibe to it as well. And if you're not aware, Rogue Trader is kind of like, so like the original version of Warhammer 40K was called Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader, and it had this whole like additional like role playing concept on top of the like combat tabletop role playing game. And the idea of Rogue Traders is that they are people who are essentially handed like a charter by the Imperium to be like petty lords, and they're like, go out into the frontier, whatever you find out there, any planets, anything, like that's yours. Like you own that. You can exploit the shit out of it as long as you are like progressing the empire, like the Imperium, into like uncharted spaces, right?
It's horrifying.
Not a good title for a game though.
Rogue Trader,
Because it makes it sound like it's like a merchant game or something.
you are. It is. There is a merchant aspect to it.
I know,
Like
but
there's
it
a
makes
and
it
it's
sound
like it's like a big.
only
It's like
that.
no, but like it's kind of like
Moonlighter.
like the other Owlcat game they did was Pathfinder Kingmaker, which is also
Now that's a good title.
is a CRPG, and the whole point of that game is that you are building a kingdom. Like you become a king and you're building a kingdom. Like this is the same shit. Like you are building this, like you, like a lot of the gameplay is not just doing like the RPG stuff of like running around and doing turn-based combat. It's also like negotiating with people. It's also like collecting goods and like selling them, and like there is a whole commerce aspect to it. And like it's so fucking sick. Like you have a ship, you have your own ship, and like because you're this like space pirate lord, like the main bridge of the ship is like this huge cathedral, and like you sit on this giant throne that looks like, I mean, it's like up this like set of stairs, like it's the Iron Throne, and it can like rotate around to the front of the ship to where the helm is, or rotate back, and then it's like an audience hall, and like all your fucking like crewmen like meet there and like bow to you and everything. Like it's so fucking cool. Oh, Warhammer is actually not bad. Pretty cool.
not bad. It's not bad. Not bad. Cool. Okay. Looking forward to hearing more about that in the future, maybe. Chris Davis.
He finished it. You're the one who needs to play a lot more Space Marine.
Shut your whore mouth. I'm going.
Oh, he's talking about.
I'm talking about he's talking about Rogue Trader.
Oh, I thought you were
but
harping on me
Nick,
about
you
Baldur's
need to
Gate
at
3 again.
least finish Space Marine.
Oh, I
and
know. I
Baldur's
fully
Gate.
intend to. I fully intend to. All right, Chris Davis. Sorry,
Yes.
we talked a lot about both those games here. I know you
Yes,
wanted
we
to talk
did.
a little bit about what is it? Resident Evil 2?
I mean, I can talk about Resident Evil 2 if you want me to.
Wait,
but-
which game do you want to talk about?
Roll that beautiful Peglin footage.
Don't do
Well,
the
I-
Peglin footage.
I mean, I fucking
Don't
could.
you do it.
It'd take me 10 seconds to
you-
load. Fine.
Don't you fucking
but no,
do it.
I will talk about Doctor. We'll talk about that real quick.
What?
What?
Dead
Oh!
Rising Deluxe Remaster.
Oh yeah,
I
no,
forgot
do
about
that.
that.
One. Do that one, not the others.
I can't. Okay, yeah. This is.
Do you have footage of this?
Yes, I'm airing it
he's
right
rolling
now.
It. It's
Oh,
rolling.
okay.
It's rolling
God.
right now.
Damn it!
Yeah.
Why are you so secretive?
What do you mean? Why
He's
am I
not.
so secretive?
He's been talking. He's been talking about. Okay, since when can Frank
Why
West
is
do
this not on the
backflips?
thumbnail? Is it on the thumbnail?
Yes.
It is, Brett.
Oh, okay.
It is.
All right.
You weirdo.
Yeah.
Okay, when did Frank West start doing backflips and shit?
He's always done backflips and shit. That's
Okay.
part of the leveling system of this game. Like you level up, you increase your health, or you increase your item inventory. You get new weapons, new attacks, new abilities, things like that. Like, yes, this is the thing about this is that it is a deluxe remaster And I think that's the best adjective to describe this thing here.
What is the big deal about this? Because you've been like super into Dead Rising as of late, and it's all been building to this, isn't it?
I mean, no. The fact that I played Off the Record, like 6 months ago, and then I'm playing this now, it's pure coincidence, honestly. Like, that was the one game in this franchise I never played.
It's crazy that you were so hyped for this, given you literally just played it.
I mean, yeah, but it's a different. They're kind of different experiences, and like
okay, let's not oversell it. Dead Rising. It's Dead Rising.
Is this like a Black Mesa situation?
No.
So when I said that, like, this is the Deluxe Remaster is like the right way to describe this game, it's definitely not a remake. You can feel the old bones.
No, this looks like Dead Rising as fuck. What?
Yeah, but it's just
This doesn't replace the original.
I say this is the superior experience. I would not go back and play the original by comparison.
So it is like a Black.
It's
Mesa.
a remaster.
Okay. It is a Black Mesa. I gotcha. Cool.
No,
fucking god, you're
okay.
It's a remaster.
Crispy is trolling the shit.
You're not gonna
out
go
of
play the original because you don't want to bust out your 360.
Yeah, or your Wii, the Wii. Remember that?
I forgot.
Okay,
I forget.
stop.
Where it had
No.
like 8 zombies on screen.
Chop till you drop edition or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about this is that it's the same old bones underneath, but it's a massive graphical update, and there's just tons of quality life improvements across the board. The NPC AI of the people you rescue, it's actually competent this time around. Like, I'm holding this character's hand, not because I need to guide her, but because
you love her.
Because there is a affiliation system hidden underneath the game to where if I raise my affiliation with this character, she'll like me more. She'll start pointing out things in the environment, like hidden objects or things stickers I can take for big points with my camera. Things like that. Like, it's worth it to actually escort people around instead of just returning straight to the safe room.
I do like how
you
were
bond
like
with people if you get something out of it. Chris Davis is what you're saying.
I do like
you so much.
I do like how you were just like, the AI is perfectly competent this time, and then like 5 seconds later, you're like taking cover behind a tree, and she's just kind of like standing out in the open.
Well, I mean, these
I get it.
psychopath,
I mean,
prisoners, like they're only interested in me. They don't give a shit about the NPCs.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I just let her go, and she just kind of walks around and survives while I have to deal with this fucking Humvee with a 50 cal on the back of it. So, I mean, it's just, the game is designed to focus on you. It doesn't really want to
Oh my god.
focus
Jesus
on the
Christ.
survivors unless it just so happens that they're surrounded by zombies.
Hey, when you say there's like quality of life stuff now, is it still like, so the first Dead Rising was like this weird game that like got easier if you like restarted it or whatever. Is that still like the loop here?
I mean, your progression, if you complete a run, no matter what ending you get, or if you die, like that progression carries over to the next run. So, like, I'm on.
But like, I remember in the original, like it was better to like restart the game than, well, I don't know. Maybe I don't really remember.
I mean, I think
it's been a while.
Misremembering. I mean, but like, again, when we talk quality of life, like, I was holding her hand. If I was playing the original game, like, if I bumped into a single zombie, I would lose grip with her, and I have to go connect with her again, and it's just a fucking pain in the ass. Now they fucking run with you. They scale up stairs with you just fine. Like, it makes fucking
They can use
sense.
stairs.
Yeah, they can use stairs. You couldn't say that about the 2005 game.
Man, sometimes I forget that, like, Dead Rising 1, was that a launch title, or was that just shortly after the
It was a
launch
second
for the
wave.
360?
It was
Second
2006,
wave.
sorry.
Yeah. It was rough.
It was rough, but it was a technology demonstrator that accomplished what it needed to do. And
And now they had to turn it into an actual fun video game to play.
I mean, Dead Rising 2 was a fun video game to play. We don't talk about.
But people
4.
have, but people have an affinity. People, for whatever reason, have like a appreciation or an affinity for the first one for whatever reason, even though it was never quite.
Because it never. Because they just did it again with like the sequel, and it's like, yeah, the first one is the one that people are nostalgic for because that was the breakout one that everybody.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like.
Yeah.
Subsequent
the second
games don't hit as quite as your first one,
I mean, the big thing about the second game was the item combinations and weapon crafting that you could do, which feels, by comparison, very, very absent in this. I mean, it's just
that was a really cool feature in the second one. Now you miss it.
That was a breath of fresh air that really made the experience.
It's also hard to beat the mall setting. Also, I will say, the first one was the only like Japanese developed game, and I feel like you can kind of feel those quirks, and I feel like those quirks are like what made it charming. And the first one was just like a kind of a weird imitation of that. I don't know. I mean, the second one, I don't know, and then the third and fourth one, that was just
we don't talk about those.
Weird.
I think 3 was fine. It could have been better. 4 is a fucking travesty.
Which one is the Christmas one? That's 4, right?
That's 4.
What do you call that, a Christmas one?
It was set during Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
But like,
I remember playing the demo at E3, and it was like there was like Santa Claus zombie or something. I don't remember.
Like the whole thing isn't during Christmas. Like that's a pretty good holiday game.
Yeah,
it is a. Yes.
Wait, is it a travesty to like everyone, or just a travesty to you?
It's a travesty to everyone.
I think it was. I mean, you don't hear people talk about it a lot. I don't. Like, it kind of came and went, and nobody really said much about it. So
yeah, because it turned out bad, and everyone didn't want to play it, so they moved on with their lives.
Anyways, that's neither here nor there.
But this is just such a substantial quality of life, just like refresh of that original game, while retaining that original gameplay. Just they fixed all the issues that people got pissed about. Like, one of the things they've added for this game, in a very simple quality of life thing, is that 72-hour mode, you're always on a timer, right? Now, you can go to a save spot and advance time. So you don't have to, like, just kind of wait for hours on end just between events. No, you can now just go to a spot, advance the timer, and go immediately to the next story event. Like, that is so fucking handy if you want to do certain things in this game.
I think I guess because my first thought is, why would you want to advance time? Because I feel like isn't the whole point you're trying to accomplish a bunch of stuff before the timer runs out? So I feel like advancing time would be something you don't want to do.
I mean, it's a situational thing. Like, there's always going to be stuff to do in the mall, at least on your very first run. But once you've leveled up your character enough, like, you're moving so much faster and you have so much more ability to manage your items that it just saves you time naturally as you're going on. So things that might have taken you 20, 30 minutes to accomplish may take you 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes sometimes.
Like winging and chess is before you would spend a bunch of time collecting food and items while you waited for certain things to happen.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Or you could be filling that time killing fucking zombies, because that's what this game is about, right?
Oh, yeah. And there's a ton of that still, as well as the fucking raincoat cultists and all sorts of psychos.
I was going to ask. I was like, why are there a bunch of dudes in raincoats? Was that in the original? I feel like that's...
Yeah, it was the cult, the raincoat cult that was hanging out in the movie theater.
Hey, Nick, have you ever played a Dead Rising game?
Probably. I played like half of the first one.
So you've never played any of the others? Wow.
No. I mean, I'm going to be, admittedly, not a huge Dead Rising fan myself. So,
but then you've only played like the first one and even only half of it.
Right.
So.
Right.
I don't know, man. I think it might be worth going and exploring for you.
I mean, I need to play Baldur's Gate 3.
I mean, you've got like 10,000 other things you do need to play.
I feel like,
but you can't keep making that.
He's just gonna use that as like translation. I'm never playing that.
Yeah, you're never playing this. Yeah,
God damn it! I can't win with you, Brad. I can't fucking win with you.
At one point, you were gonna play
because I know you don't mean it.
Yeah. But I do mean it. I do mean it, you piece of shit.
Not in that joke. You did not mean it.
Even if you install the game, Nick, you're still not going to win. Like, do you still have 13 Sentinels installed?
Nick could
No,
literally
actually.
finish that game
I
and
didn't
I
think
would
so.
not care.
Yeah. So, shame. But yeah,
Anyways,
It was
this is
never
just-
about me. It was always about him.
Well, Nick, if you play this game, maybe it'll count towards your Japanese games.
That's not how that works. But let me tell you,
It's not
Nick,
entirely untrue.
I'm over here trying to get Nick to play Rebirth, and he's like, maybe I'm good. And to me, that
I'm
was like
not.
an
Brad
easy
is
point
putting
for him.
Brad is putting fucking words in my mouth again. Anyways, I'm sorry. I don't want to hijack Dead Rising conversation.
I
here,
just,
so
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
we
about
do
to.
need to wrap up here soon.
Yeah,
but
I'm going to wrap it up.
It's Dead Rising.
The other thing I want to point out is that Capcom yesterday put out or maybe even this morning. I think it was yesterday. They did another one of their public surveys, asking for feedback on Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, as well as other games that the community wants to have done. Like they did this several months ago, right? Asking for sequels and remakes that the community wants to see. And what was one of the top picks? It was
Dino Crisis.
Dino Crisis. And what happened today?
They announced it was coming to PlayStation Plus.
Yes. The first time
original.
you'll be able to play it since the PlayStation 3 on console.
I mean, that's great and all, but I don't think that's what people meant.
No,
I mean,
of course not. But
I'll take it.
in a
I'll
span
happily
of
take
2
it.
months, like
Yeah.
that just tells me
what
that
really should piss you off about that is how easy and how quickly they were able to make that happen. If they really just needed somebody,
Well,
a bunch of people.
those things might not even be related. Like I was looking at like the classics collection that, who even has like the most expensive tier of the PlayStation thing, but there's like a lot of stuff on there now. It's actually kind of crazy.
I mean, I'm just of the opinion that I think Capcom's at a point in their lifespan right now where they're looking back at their back catalog, they're realizing they have a lot of IP that they can capitalize on, and it's just not out there for people to buy. And a thing like a deluxe remaster like this that looks at their older games and just gives them updates and a little bit of paint for relatively cheap amount of work, like it's worth the idea.
I get what you're saying, but like when they're just doing a bunch of this stuff, but while also not advancing a series, like not releasing new entries in a series, it feels empty. It feels hollow. You know what I mean?
Course
Like
it does, but
if they had announced Dead Rising 5 and then in the meantime they were releasing this stuff, I'd be like, great, fantastic. I mean, I don't really care much about Dead Rising, but at the same time, like for people who are fans of Dead Rising, like that would be amazing. I feel the same way about the Dino
Crisis. I would not put it
Crisis
past
thing.
Capcom for some kind of new Dead Rising project to be in pre-production right now.
Give me Dino Crisis 4, god damn it.
I don't
mean,
know.
technically,
I mean,
we did get
Capcom
Dino
has
Crisis.
like 1,000% in the past have done remasters with the intention of seeing how they do and kind of going from there and having those plans kind of fall flat. It happened with Onimusha. It happened with Darkstalkers. Those underperformed, and they said, you know what, maybe we're good.
Yeah.
So if this thing doesn't really like kill it, then maybe that's it for Dead Rising.
I mean, that's a distinct possibility,
Oh.
but there's other things to think about, like the GOG ports, PC ports of the original Resident Evil 3 games, or 3 Resident Evil games. Like Resident Evil 3 Nemesis comes out tomorrow on GOG.
And you and 3 other people are gonna buy that. Who the fuck? No, that's not fair. But you know what I mean.
Okay.
That's a little unfair. Yeah. I don't know. I am optimistic about Capcom's prospect for their back catalog.
Yeah, you were talking mad shit about Monster Hunter Wilds earlier. Just saying.
Look,
What?
Just saying.
Who does that? Literally,
Shit, I missed something
like
today,
the most
didn't I?
empty image.
Yes, they announced the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima today. Did you see that, Crispy?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
But
then no, you didn't see it.
was there a Monster Hunter Wilds footage?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes, there
Crispy,
was.
you need to watch that trailer.
February-
It is.
it's a good trailer.
February 28th is the release date as well.
It moved the needle for me with Wilds.
Shit. Oh shit!
Precisely. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and wrap up the show with the 4-player minute. I know the segment's gone a little long because of our technical difficulties earlier, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. 4-player minute. Final thoughts for the week. Brad?
My final
Starts
thoughts are
off.
with Zelda today. Good old Princess Zelda.
Good old Zelda.
I gotta be honest, I'm excited, but I have concerns. As much as I love the series, as much as I love Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and Link Between Worlds, which just has big energy from all those, I'm a little concerned that... So we know that this new one has like some Breath of the Wild energy to it, right? Where it's like very, you have all these like tools, just kind of figure this shit out, right?
Yep, that's the idea.
And which is cool, right? I like that philosophy. The problem is I am worried. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, like they're pretty difficult games. Like combat, the world can be very deadly. Right, especially if you get into like a situation where you're not ready for, place you're not ready for. And I feel like the difficulty of those games sort of force the player to like get creative, force the player to like seek out the things they need to get more powerful. Like, oh, I really want to get this armor. I really want to upgrade it. I really need to get more of these things so I can get more hearts. Or like in Tears of the Kingdom, you just start throwing together wild shit because combat can be really difficult. If that philosophy, I don't think works with something that is more like along the lines of like in a Link Between Worlds. A Link Between Worlds, like in terms of like difficulty. If the game is really easy,
will it be
what is
satisfying?
pushing me to experiment with my tools? Like I'm worried we're going to run into the Scribblenauts issue where you're going to find, which was, inherently a relatively easy game. It wasn't trying to like be like difficult. It was more puzzle like this is. I'm a little worried that, especially with like enemies and stuff, boss fights, whatever, you're just gonna, if you can just pull out the thing that just works, the solution that works, and you might not have to get creative.
Which, based on the trailer, could be beds.
I mean, beds, sure. Everyone's going to be sleeping in boss battles, right? Unless you don't have to because the game's too easy. You see what I'm saying? Like, I love A Link Between Worlds. It's really easy. This, I mean, it's starring Princess Zelda. Maybe they're skewing a little bit younger. Who knows? I feel like there was some concern there with Princess Peach game that came out earlier this year, which seemed like fucking easier than a Kirby game.
So
maybe.
because it's starring a girl, it's gonna be easy.
Well,
Get him, Crispy.
It is not. It is less about
it's
fucking
Zelda, but girl.
sexism and more about like Nintendo, right? There are certain Nintendo
Maybe sexism
franchises
on
that are
Nintendo's
always really fucking easy. Like there's some Mario games start out really fucking easy. A Kirby game is always easy, pretty much from beginning to end, right? Like Zelda games kind of had become easy, but like I'm saying, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they were like, no, man, these games are going to challenge you. You're going to be able to die quick and often, You're going to die quick and often. There's no way this game is bringing that to the table. So I'm just curious
how they're going to handle that.
Is it going to like...
We're going to find out in
what's
like
it
8
gonna be
hours. We're going to find out what this game
Oh,
reviews
is that
like.
when
And
critical reviews come out? Well, I'm just going to play it and find out, but sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how critics.
I could see this game
to that.
reviewing critically very, very well, but still end up being too easy for a lot of people.
Like, this is you got to understand, this has happened before with A Link Between Worlds, which is not only a very easy game, but like, remember that game was designed around renting items before you bought them.
Oh yeah.
But I never died once in that game, which means when I rented an item, I just had it. I literally had 0 deaths in A Link Between Worlds, which means the core conceit of renting items didn't exist in my game. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping. But to me, if I'm Nintendo and this is my first Zelda game, I hate to say it, I'm also probably not going, well, I'm also going to make this very tough. I'm just worried. I'm worried that Nintendo is sexist.
Yeah, see, yeah, there we go. It's sexism on Nintendo's part, which is possible.
Yeah, but what if this is the one time where they're like, let's really kick those kids in the dick, like
Kick those in the vagina, you mean?
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Get out of our hobby. It's too hard.
Yeah. They're gatekeeping Nintendo hardcore.
Oh my god. Okay.
Anyways,
let's
that's
pass it to Nolan.
That's what I'm thinking about this week. I'm still very excited for that, but yeah.
Nolan, what's your final thought for the week?
As people know, there's a kiddo on the way. So I've been doing a lot around that. I'm starting to prep nursery stuff, and there's just a lot involved: painting, wallpaper, all that jazz, cribs, rocking chairs. So that's consuming a lot of my life right now. What's up, Dad?
It's funny you say potential because with my second child, Malia at one point was like, you know what? I changed my mind. With like a month left, she was,
Yeah, and then new legislation passed, and oops.
I'm good. I don't think but in fact, I think we were at the hospital and she was like, you know what? I'm good.
Let's go home.
This is a mistake. Yeah. Anyways.
So
that'll be a
go
fun
ahead.
story for the family to laugh about.
We don't have to tell Griffin.
Gotta listen to the podcast
but no,
from 20 years ago. Oh, fuck.
I promise you,
That
he's never going
explains
to
so
get
many
this
things.
podcast. But yeah. So the UFO 50 was a kind of a welcome thing because it's easy to like bite-sized kind of games to quickly play and stuff like that. So definitely going to be playing a decent more of that. The one,
Yeah, while I'm in offline mode, Nolan, thanks. We just made a discovery. You know what? I don't even want to say it. We're just going to scare Nick off. Let's just,
that's true.
continue.
That's true. But the other thing I was going to bring up was that, dude, I don't want to do it, man. I really don't because fuck them and fuck capitalism.
Oh no.
And all that shit. But dude, that 30th anniversary PS5
PlayStation-
looks so fucking good.
Oh,
man.
no.
It looks so
We need to
fucking
talk
good.
about that. This is shameful.
Dude, the fucking USB
I feel like
looks
that
like
only
the PS1
exists to try to make.
controller.
What?
I feel like that only exists to make people feel better about the pro pricing.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
and it's one thing.
are they doing another like anniversary controller like they did for the PS4?
No.
The
They're
whole
doing
system.
an anniversary system. The PS5 Pro,
but
it
can
will
you
look
get
like a
just
PS1.
the controller. Because
Probably. They will probably sell it. And it looks like
Guess how much the system is, though, Crispy?
PS4. Just
so
the
it looks like
controller?
that,
Guess how much
Chris.
is-
Yes, they will have just the
How
controller.
much?
I think $80 because they upped the price of them. Yeah.
Yeah, but the system with the drive,
With a
that
hard
comes with
with
extra
a disc
controller.
drive?
It's $900.
Shut the
Yeah,
fuck
it's
up.
insane.
Shut the fuck up.
And it's limited to
What?
12,300 units.
Yeah, the fact that it's
so-
12,000 is insane.
Joe Biden
Like,
did this.
But I feel like they did that to make $700 seem like it's not that bad.
It's
Probably.
Jover.
Anyway, that's my 4-player minute.
Don't do it, Nolan.
Dude, I don't want the fucking $900 one. I just want a PS5 that looks like the PS1. That's all.
Yo,
I
you know
want.
what? You have a kiddo on the way. Treat yourself.
Yeah, that's true. I gotta spend
What?
the money now while I have.
You know what? You know what?
Yeah.
The last PC I built was like right before the first one popped out, so
Yeah.
I don't think I can afford another one anytime soon.
All right, Crispy.
It's gotta last you for 20 years. My final thought. I already kind of got into it a little bit while we were talking about Space Marine, but my final thought is that I am becoming more of a Warhammer fan, and I'm scared.
Rest in
I'm
peace,
so
Wallet.
Scared.
Dangerous.
I'm so scared. I'm just a filthy goddamn woke tourist. Just imposing myself on this pure masculine Western hobby. And I am afraid that I'm gonna start actually spending money. Like, I don't know, man. There's a Games Workshop store like within 5 miles of my house.
You're gonna be painting and everything.
Well, okay.
This is
here's
what
the
you're worried
thing.
That's where it really
Here's the
starts to get
thing,
expensive.
because like I've already got the stuff for building the models because it's a lot of the same stuff you'd use to make Gundam kits.
Yeah.
And one of the D&D groups that I play with, like the DM is really big into using like model terrain and using minifigs. So like we've been going over to his house and like painting minifigures. So like
already
it's all
in.
kind of
You're
like
already in there,
lining
baby.
up, and then it's like, okay, well I guess I just gotta like buy a couple books and learn how to play Warhammer 40K, and then buy a fucking tape measure and 9,000 D6s and what. Why not? Like, why not? Like, I'm already so far gone. Like, I'm already like just why shouldn't I just adopt every dorky hobby I can find? Like,
Hey, Crispy.
why shouldn't I? I'm not gonna have children. Fuck that. I'm gonna buy some Dark Angels.
Bilbo Baggins, like, why shouldn't I?
Yes, I'm like, why shouldn't I?
Crispy, you don't have a child coming. Treat yourself.
Treat yourself. Treat yourself.
Yeah. Good luck and Godspeed with that. Keep us posted.
The first time I try to paint one of those guys and it doesn't look like the box, I'm gonna
Done.
throw it all away.
All right, Chris Davis, how are you gonna treat yourself?
Treat myself because I will treat myself.
Horsehair mattress.
Well, you bought a
No,
house,
no.
so
Yeah,
that's like you're building a house. So like,
I
you've done
treated
enough.
myself-
Why did you do this? We might have actually gotten through this without a House Talk 4-player minute for once.
Well, and today was a big
I'm
day
sorry.
because today was my pre-drywall inspection.
Our
So
real
Oh my
estate.
god, we are
Oh
not.
my God.
We are not talking about drywall.
you brought this up.
I
I will
regret
not talk about it, but
intensely.
I'm just
Pre-drywall inspection.
Yeah, so it was today was a very busy day for me. The thing I'm most excited about right now, other than Ghost of Yotei, which they announced that it's
Is that how you say that?
I don't actually know. But the person playing the main character, Atsu, is Erika Ishii, and that is really cool. I'm glad to see her.
From
What do we know her from?
Where do we know her
Game
from?
Changer? From
She's done a lot of D&D stuff. She's also done a lot of voice work. You probably heard her voice. It's just she's not a big. She's not like a Laura Bailey or a Jen Taylor or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
yet.
she's yet.
Yes.
Because that's the other thing with the announcement of this game is that they're talking about this being the stepping off point for a movie and maybe even a TV show.
Well, they've been,
Yeah,
that movie.
okay.
They've been talking about doing the Ghost of Tsushima movie since the first game was still
Take
like,
it easy, Sony.
height
Let's
of its
just-
popularity.
Let's
Yeah.
just make sure the game's good first.
Yeah, where's that Horizon show?
The Horizon show. I'm pretty sure it's canceled.
I heard that they're making it woke. Though,
God of War show.
right? And
Shut up,
it's
shut up.
Because a woman of color is the main character.
It's so great. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Which one? What?
Ghosts of Yotei.
It is a woman of color as the main protagonist, and I'm here for it. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
Not enough makeup, am I right?
Is she demure and mindful?
Guys,
or...
y'all gotta be careful because I have a feeling at some point there's gonna be somebody, you do it enough, somebody is gonna start to wonder if you're not kidding.
You're right. The sarcasm doesn't help.
The number of sarcastic sexism and woke jokes that have been made in the past 20 minutes.
Or we appeal to both audiences, the idiots who are too stupid to sense the sarcasm, who are like, yeah, you say you tell them, Brad, and then the people who know the truth.
Yeah, and then
who
those
know
people
I'm
get
being
into
sarcastic.
arguments about who we're making fun of.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck those idiots.
Would be like Matt Stone and Trey Parker. It'd be great.
We're having our cake and we're eating
Meanwhile,
it too.
we're just making money.
See, look at Glegor. He's like, oh, he was kidding. A little disappointed. It's like, well, maybe Nolan's on my side.
Well, the other thing that has me excited right now is tomorrow, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis comes out on GOG, aka the best Resident Evil game. I will not be taking your questions. And I just decided to play Resident Evil 2 on GOG over the weekend just because I could. I had no idea this was happening. In fact, Someone in chat brought up, what if GOG decided to release Resident Evil 3 this week for September 28th? I was like, that'd be lovely, but I didn't think they'd do it that fast. Next day, the fucking announcement. I am so happy right now. So,
well, congratulations. I disagree
I'm
with you
happy for you, but
wholeheartedly.
like, how many times have you played through these Resident Evil games?
well, here's the thing: was that Resident Evil 2? I had not beaten that game this century.
What the fuck?
Yeah, century.
I played it when it originally came out. I don't remember how far I got with it. I don't even remember if I actually beat it or not.
Dude, Resident Evil 2 is
Wait, you don't know if you've beaten Resident Evil 2 ever?
The original game, yes.
You're a fucking
That's
monster.
crazy.
And you're out here
wasn't
saying
even like
shit.
a remake on the GameCube or whatever.
And you're out here saying shit like
you're
Resident Evil
over
3
here,
is the best
Resident Evil Nemesis is the best one. Also, I didn't play the first two. This makes so much more sense, Chris Davis. Of course you think Nemesis is the best.
I'm fairly certain that I beat 2 at some point. I just don't remember basically anything from playing that game back then. I remember more of Resident Evil 1 than I do of 2.
Did you get into arguments with kids back then saying, no, Nemesis is the best, and they didn't know that you didn't play the first 2 Resident Evil games to completion?
No.
That's fucked up, man.
They came out when I was 13.
Oh my
I mean, I know you were 35 when it first came out.
Go back.
I think you've been fooling yourself for the better part of 30 years.
No, I'm perfectly correct. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is the best Resident Evil game, period.
You don't even know. Did you even finish the GOG version or whatever?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the next night, I went through and played Scenario B. So
for the first
I have gotten the full experience.
Thank God.
30 years.
Okay.
Late.
My final thought. My final thought.
That's great. That's actually crazy. I thought he was like the most Resident Evil pilled person here, but like that's not
How
even
dare
close
you?
to true.
Come on.
Well, I'm saying. I mean, first of all, Nick, I beat you in that Project M.
Okay, first of all, you might just be better at video games than I am, Brad. Suck a dick. Okay?
I mean,
come on.
And like Resident Evil more than you.
Maybe video games is one of those things where the fastest isn't the best, you know?
Yeah, technically you're the fastest at it, but
yeah, that's true. It did me no favors on Resident Evil 4, that's for sure.
Look, I love me some Resident Evil. Like, I love me some Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Anyways, my final thought for this week. I just wanted to share. I took a whole week off. I had such grand plans. And I played a lot of video games. I played a lot of video games during that week.
Just the wrong ones.
No. They're all games. I'm playing all these games, and I wanted to finish at least one or two of them. I managed to platinum Astrobot during that week and get through most of a significant chunk of Black Myth Wukong. And I just finished Black Myth Wukong in the past week, which wouldn't have been possible so quickly without taking that time off. But Black Myth Wukong, man, fucking phenomenal game. Like, kind of blown away by like how far that game took it, and like the final chapter of that game is something completely unexpected, completely unlike the chapters that preceded it. You're fucking flying around on a Nimbus cloud and like riding on the back of a giant grasshopper, dude. It is crazy. And then you end up in this like just ridiculously, like relentlessly beautiful, like set piece kind of finale that ends in like one of the best like action game boss fights that I've had in recent memory. Like it ends so great, and that whole journey was phenomenal. Not to mention, like I've talked about it before, like all those like animation, like they call them music videos. I guess they are music videos technically, that play in between each chapter that are all animated by a different artist in a different style. There's so
they call
much.
them they play music videos.
You go to, after you finish a chapter and you watch this cutscene, quote unquote, and you go back to the main menu. There's a section that says music videos, and you can rewatch those animated because they're all like 4 minutes long and they have like music playing throughout the entire thing. But I don't know why they chose to call it a music video. I guess that's what they are. It's a story being told over the course of a song playing, so I guess so. But it's all just it's kind of unreal. I was so kind of blown away by that game.
Does it top Stellar Blade?
Yeah, probably.
Does it top Nine Souls?
Don't fucking ask me that question right now.
Wow.
Bro. Don't ask me that question. Don't ask me that question. I'll figure out how I'm going to handle all that later.
Wow.
But yeah, I just want to say, because that is another game like Space Marine 2 that I think reviewed pretty soft for what it actually is.
Reviewed soft.
Dude, the game's got,
both those games scored well. What are you talking about?
They scored well, but I think those games are both deserving of much higher scores. But
like
whatever.
90% of games are like 79 or lower. What are you talking about? I feel like they did great.
We are poisoned by Fantasy Critic because
Fantasy Critic was the worst thing
matter.
that could ever happen to us.
Shouldn't fucking matter.
Not okay.
I'm
first
just
of all,
constantly aware.
Okay, first of all, that's not true. Get good. But second of all, like to say that about a Warhammer / Saber Interactive game and a game from an unknown Chinese studio, the fact that like these games are like scoring in the 80s is like insane. Actually,
no, it is.
Fantasy Critic aside, it's insane.
It is insane that
these games came out great.
Given the circumstances and who's making them, yes, it is extraordinary that they're reviewing as well as they are. But also, if you take that out of the equation and just look at what the games actually are and the production value behind them and the technical. I'm not even talking about graphics. I'm talking about like go look at Black Myth. I mean, look at a significant chunk of Black Myth Wukong and look at like all the different things that come together, like from the technical. Like how smooth the whole game plays, the UI, the ridiculous amount of time and effort put into those animated sequences.
You're saying
the story, like
you're mad that UFO 50 is a 90 and Wukong is an 81 because mine looks like 80s trash.
I should have known better than to even bring score into this conversation with you around, Brad. But all I'm saying is
Brad just doesn't like Asian games. That's all.
I think people are.
That's true. Famously, don't like the Asian games. Nick, on the other hand, loves Chinese and Korean games. Hates Japanese games.
Some of my favorite games this year
are Chinese and Korean.
Yeah,
just no Japanese games. Wow,
that's kind of funny when you put it that way. Anyways,
I mean,
whatever. This is it.
Just fact.
This segment's gone on very long because it's been kind of an imbalanced show. So I'm gonna go ahead and let us wrap it up right there, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Again, last week we did a game night. We'll probably be doing more of those in the not too distant future. It was very fun hanging out with the community and playing Dale and Dawson Stationery Supplies.
That was
very, very
fun.
cool.
We should do that again.
It was pretty fun. Good times. So maybe stay tuned for that. And of course, if you want to be a part of the community and maybe even be a part of one of those game nights in the future, make sure you're in our Discord at discord.gg/4player. You can also find all of our episodes on 4playernetwork.com, as well as your preferred podcast service. And we record these episodes live every Tuesday night. So we'll be back in a week's time to talk about more video games. In the meantime, be good to each other, play video games, and good night.